I request now to stand as we welcome the President of the Republic and the Chancellor. We shall remain standing for the singing of the national anthem. President, the Deputy President, Cabinet Ministers and Deputy Ministers, honored guests, we gathered here on the invitation of His Excellency the President as we celebrate 30 years of democracy. We will honor the individuals and citizens who have made a contribution to change the lives of others. It is that moment today that I hereby invite, as I do, His Excellency to commence with the ceremony. Your Excellency.
Program Director, Minister Zizi, good enough, Kodwa. He is good enough. Deputy President Paul Mashatile, and my dear sister Mayor Mashatile, ministers and deputy ministers here present, members of Parliament, and Chancellor of the National Order, Ms. Pindile Valeri, members of the Advisory Council of National Orders, members of the Diplomatic Corps, recipients here present of the National Orders together with their families, family members, and friends and fellow South Africans. It is my honor and privilege to present the recipients of this year's National Orders. National Orders are the highest accolade bestowed by a country on the men and women, citizens and non-citizens, who have played an invaluable role in building our nation. 2 days ago, we had the privilege on the 27th of April 2024 to celebrate our Freedom Day. The democratic breakthrough that we achieved 30 years ago enabled South Africans of all races to cast their vote, all of us casting our votes for the very first time to build a new nation. And thus, we began that process as a new South African nation to build this nation from the ashes of apartheid. This year marks the year that we attained our freedom 30 years ago. This would not have been possible without the bravery, the fortitude, and the noble acts of those who the preamble of our Constitution recognizes and describes as having suffered for justice and freedom in our land. The men and women we honor today have played an invaluable role in giving birth to the free South Africa that we enjoy today. Our nation owes them a great debt. By bestowing these national orders, we want to ensure that their contributions are recognized and spoken of by generations to come. The recipients of the national orders are chosen by South African people. It is the people of South Africa who make these nominations for consideration. This is most appropriate because the recipients are the heroes and heroines of the entire nation. The truest test of heroism is that these acts are not done for the sake of name, prestige, fame, or fortune. They are done out of conscience and an unwavering responsibility that many of them carry. They are born of a burning quest for social justice. They are anchored in the belief that the achievement of equality, of human dignity for all is the highest aspiration of humankind. The Order of Mendi for Bravery is made to South Africans who have performed the acts of great bravery at the risk of their own lives. All this year's recipients were anti-apartheid activists, and they are being awarded posthumously. They lived at a time when apartheid repression was at its worst, and they displayed the utmost courage. Their sacrifices will never be forgotten, and their memories will live on. The Order of Mtulu is awarded to South Africans who have contributed to the struggle for democracy, for human rights, for nation building, for justice and for peace in our land. Several of the recipients of this year's Order of Mtulu were brutally killed by the apartheid regime. One of them is Ms Nokuthula, who was abducted and tortured by the apartheid security branch. Her remains were never found. This is a scar that will never heal for her family, like the scars of many other South Africans whose loved ones disappeared during the repressive years of apartheid. By honoring those fallen heroes with national orders, we are saying that no matter how great the passage of time, they have not been forgotten. The Order of Nkamanga recognizes South Africans who have excelled in the arts, in culture, in literature, in music, journalism, and sport. In this, the 30th year since we achieved our freedom, we also celebrate the democratic gains we have made in enshrining the principle of a free and independent media. This is an important freedom which was restricted under apartheid. Our constitutional dispensation requires that we uphold this freedom. We shall continue to respect and uphold media freedom without fail. Among those being honored today are legendary journalists who were the voice, the words, the conscience of an oppressed people during the darkest periods in our history. The standard they set for media ethics and freedom are embodied in today's generation of journalists and media workers. The Order of Baobab recognizes South Africans who have made a difference in business, in the economy, in science, in medicine, and technological innovation, as well as doing so in our communities to advance their livelihoods. As we strive to bring about social and economic transformation in our country, we are keenly aware of the importance of every endeavor, be it in business, in science, or in innovation, being put in the service of social justice for all. The recipients of the Order of Makhwezi displayed excellence in scientific endeavors for the benefit of South Africa and beyond. This year's recipient undertook valuable research in the aerospace field and set a standard that today's generation of researchers will strive to emulate for time to come. Lastly, the Order of the Companions of O.R. Tambo recognizes the great friends of the people of South Africa from beyond our shores, whose sense of moral duty to oppose apartheid saw them undertake acts of solidarity and cooperation in the cause of our liberation struggle. A number of them supported our struggle at great cost and sacrifice to themselves. Some were arrested in their own countries for the work they were doing in aid of our struggle. Some suffered in many other ways, and today we honor them and thank them. We honor the journalists who helped amplify the voice of liberation movement abroad, who also raised the profile of campaigners and fundraisers for the anti-apartheid movement, and activists who played an important role in the sports boycott against the apartheid regime. Congratulations to all who are being honored today and their families. So under the powers vested in me by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996, I now confer the Order of Mendi, the Order of Nkamanga, the Order of the Baobab, the Order of Lutuli, and the Order of the Companions of O.R. Tambo. The recipients shall henceforth be honored as esteemed members of the orders. The people of South Africa salute them, and we thank them for the tasks that they undertook to build the South African nation. I thank you.
The Order van Lutuli en die Order van Makhwezi en die Order van die metgezellen van OR Tambo. Die ontvangers word voortaan geëer as gesignaleerde van die orders. Die mense van Suid-Afrika bring hulde in hulle aandag.
Ka dithata tse di neilweng ke molaotheo wa Repaboliki ya Aforika Borwa wa ngwaga wa 1996. Jaanong ke neelana ka sekgele sa Mendi sa bogologale, sekgele sa Nkamanga, sekgele sa Baobab, sekgele sa Lutuli, sekgele sa Makhwezi le sekgele sa ditsala tsa ga O.R. Tambo. Ba amogedi go tloga fa ba tlotliwa jaaka ditokololo tse di tlotliwang tsa dikgele. Batho ba Aforika Borwa ba ba tlotlomatsa botlhe.
IsiNdebele ngaphasi kwamandla enginikele wona ngumthetho-sisekelo weRiphabhuliki yeSewula Afrika ngomnyaka we-1996, 1996. Kadesi nginikela ngonongorwana wobukutani weMendi, unongorwana we-Nkamanga, unongorwana we-Baobab, unongorwana we-Lutuli, unongorwana we-Makhwezi kunye nonongorwana wabalingani baka O.R. Tambo. Abamukeli kusukela kadesi baza kuhlonitshwa njengamalunga ahloniphekileko wabonongorwana bokuhlonitshwa. Isitshaba seSewula Afrika sinithulela ingwani nonke.
Xitsonga eka matimba lawa ndzi nga ha va xerisiwa wona hi vumbiwa bya Riphabliki ra Afrika-Dzonga wa lembe va 1990. Ndza nyika sweswi mfumo wa Mendi wa vunena, mfumo wa Ikhamanga, mfumo wa Baobab, mfumo wa Luthuli, mfumo wa Mapungubwe na mfumo wa Xingana wa OR Tambo. Kusukela sweswi vaamukeri va ta fundziwa tanihi swirho swo hlonipheka swa mimfungo. Vanhu va Afrika-Dzonga va va hluvulela swidloko hinkwavo. Sign language.
Imbasa yeMendi yokukhalipha, imbasa ye-Ikhamanga, imbasa ye-Baobab, imbasa kaLuthuli, imbasa ye-Mapungubwe kunye nembasa yamahlakani ka-OR Tambo. Abo baza kufumana ukusukela ngoku baya kunikwa imbeko njengamalungu abalulekileyo embasa. Abantu baseMzantsi Afrika babothulela umnqwazi bonke.
Sesotho, tlasa matla ao ke a fuweng ke Molao wa Motheo wa Rephaboliki ya Afrika Borwa wa selemo sa 1996, 1996. Ha jwale ke o rwesa kgau ya Mendi bakeng sa ho bontsha sebete, kgau ya Ikhamanga, kgau ya Baobab, kgau ya Luthuli, kgau ya Mapungubwe le kgau ya dithaka tsa OR Tambo. Ho tloha jwale baamohedi ba tla hlomphuwa jwalo ka ditho tse hlomphehileng tsa dikgau tsena. Batho ba Afrika Borwa ba tla ba thoholetsa kaofela ha bona.
Sepedi, ka matla ao ke a filweng ke Molaotheo wa Rephaboliki ya Afrika Borwa ka ngwaga wa 1996. Jwale ke abela sefoka sa Mendi sa borale, sefoka sa Ikhamanga, sefoka sa Baobab, sefoka sa Luthuli, sefoka sa Mapungubwe le sefoka sa bagwana ba OR Tambo. Baamogedi go tloga mo ba tla hlomphiwa jwalo ka maloko a hlomphegago a ditšhaba. Batho ba Afrika Borwa ba hlompha ka moka.
Siswati, ngemandla leninikete wona ngaphansi komthethosisekelo weRiphabhulikhi yaseNingizimu Afrika weminyaka ye-1992, ngithanda ukuhlonipha ngemklomelo weMendi, webuchawe, umklomelo weBaobab, umklomelo weLuthuli, umklomelo weMapungubwe kanye nemklomelo wabangane ba-OR Tambo. Labamukeli batawuhlonishwa njengamalunga lasemgcoka etimdlondlo tesizwe. Bantu baseNingizimu Afrika bayetfulela sigcoka bonke.
Tshivenda nga maanḓa nda vhaswa one nga tshipiḓa tsha mufumalo ina tsha Riphabuḽiki ya Afrika Tshipembe tsha ṅwaha wa 1996. Ndi ṋetshedza tshiola tsha Mendi tsha vhuhali, tshiola tsha Ikhamanga, tshiola tsha Muvhulu, tshiola tsha Luthuli, tshiola tsha Mapungubwe na tshiola tsha Thama dza OR Tambo. Vhaṱanganedzi vha ḓo ṱhonifhiwa sa miraḓo ya dzikolo. Vhathu vha Afrika Tshipembe vha vha vulela ṅwanzi.
isiZulu nga
ngamandla emthethweni wona umthetho-sisekelo waseNingizimu Afrika wonyaka we-1996 ngithwesa manje izimiselo zomklomelo wobuqhawe weMendi, izimiselo zekhamanga, izimiselo zebhayibhali, izimiselo zikaLuthuli, izimiselo zemaphungube, izimiselo zabahlobo baka-OR Tambo. Laba abazothwesa le minyezane kusukela manje bazohlonishwa ngokuba ngamalungu aqavile ezindonwe zesizwe. Abantu baseNingizimu Afrika banithulela isiqholo.
Kwesa manje wole maki wana tingotsita sikama ungami xangotsisika tsisike wa xaqoqa bita wase Africa wa Republic ya ke xoka khanye ses enta ke tsisika ke mantiwa ota ya wamini ke tapre hai ke ikamanga ke babu ka wa ke lutile ya ke xabu ke mia kisi ke makungu kwe ke katsika wa metisele ke ota tsika ka lungu ka ke lungu ya ke si Africa tsawa yi
President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, will now bestow the Order of Mendi.
The Order of Mendi for Bravery. The heroes of the Mendi Order gave their lives so that there may be peace in the world. In order for men and women of all colors and faiths, that they may regard one another as brothers and not aliens, as friends and not foes, and as partners and co-workers in God's scheme of things. This, I think, is the supreme message of the Mendi. In the words of Reverend S.D. Monkey, this is the supreme message of the Mendi, that all men everywhere should regard one another in the very best of terms, and realize that perhaps now more than ever, their destiny is one, that since in death they are one, so should they be in life too. We die together in war, but find one another in peace times. Why can't we here and now live together in love, even as we die side by side in war? That is the supreme message of the Mendi. In the language of poet S.E.K. Bravery, those who dared stood steadfast of Africa, braved the ship's burdens even when she sank. The bravest of the brave they were, men who bring their blood greetings to the King of Kings. Death has its own reward to live again. Gladly I will stand with them. Newly risen men shine, one whose work is well done. In the great brightness of the day, so let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms. MaWilliams Kekana. Generosity and courageous act of sheltering freedom fighters during a time where it was illegal to align with revolutionaries. She offered her house as a safe haven for liberation stalwarts against the hostile security police. hereby bestowed on Ignatius Iggy'Mthebule posthumously, herein represented by Ms Coline Denise. For his gallant fight against an unjust system of apartheid, he is among many lost sons and daughters whose demise in the hands of the security police remains unknown, as he disappeared without a trace. This was at the height of political upheaval, where opposition was brutally silenced. Despite his disappearance, he left an indelible mark of courage and leadership. The Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Makhwezi McDonald Mtulu posthumously, represented by Mrs. Dinah Tobega Makibi. For his excellent contribution to the liberation of the people of South Africa. He responded to the brave call to join the military wing of the ANC, forsaking the safety of his home to the fight for freedom, and died in the process of executing the armed struggle. Waterwitch, posthumously, represented by Ms. Nicholas. For courageously pushing back against the oppressive system of the apartheid government. He ultimately lost his life for the ideals of freedom in the middle of the war against racism and equality. The Order of Mendi in silver is hereby bestowed on Ms Coline Denise Williams posthumously, represented by Mr. Kyle Beck. For courageously pushing back against the oppressive system of the apartheid government, she ultimately lost her life for the ideals of freedom in the middle of the war against racism and inequality.
guests, and fellow South Africans, I have the pleasure to invite you, Mr. President, to bestow the Order of Kekana.
Budding with creativity like the rest, you bloom with beauty like the best from land to land. Out of Africa's cradle of dust, you and your creativity glow. Your soaring tunes are loud as they bound from the distance across the streets, where now you mew across the ocean and to confirm the motherland appease. You heeded the call to run the tough mile. Crafted with your palm's majestic beauty, our wish is to make a fair, wounded heart, yet no sorrow was bound. To you, children of the heavens, and us, mortal souls, who create eternal beauty, we bestow the Order of Kekana.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Order of Kekana in gold is hereby bestowed on Ms. Nondando Noni Helen Jabavu, posthumously, represented here by Ms. Nompumelelo Jabavu. For her excellent contribution in the field of journalism and scholarship on the liberation struggle. Her affinity to history and storytelling through journalism informed and enlightened the nation. Posthumously, represented by Mr. Jerome Cluster. for his exceptional contribution to quality journalism and as a reporter exposing the cruelties of apartheid and encouraging unity among the people of different political persuasions to fight for liberation. He was a nation builder with a vision for an equal and thriving society. The Order of Ikamanga in gold is hereby bestowed on Dr. Madala Muzwake Unene. For his exceptional contribution to the arts, especially jazz music, using home-brewed sounds that are unique to South Africa. He has collaborated with some of the best talents in our country. The Order of Ikamanga in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Angus Gibbs. For his contribution to filmmaking. He strived to provide a safe haven for black artists at a time when discrimination was normalized and practiced with impunity. His collaborations produced iconic narratives of South African history and youth culture. in silver is hereby bestowed on Mr. Emil Lester Janssen. For his contribution in the field of arts and hip-hop culture in South Africa. His art history and activism formulated a unique lexicon, now family known as Africa, explaining the African origins of hip-hop. Bestowed on Ms. Sarai Ngusi Kumalo. For being an inspiring waymaker for many women through her quest of summiting 7 mountains while raising funds. She inspires every African child to pursue what may seem to be impossible dreams. For her excellent contribution to the development of indigenous Ndebele arts. Her commitment to passing on knowledge to younger generations is commendable. She has become a bridge connecting generations. Madosini Latozi Mpahleni posthumously, represented by Ms. Tandi Oshula. For her exceptional service in preserving and elevating indigenous South African musical traditions. In a rapidly changing world, she stood as a guardian of these ancient sounds, ensuring that they were not forgotten. Her commitment to passing on her knowledge to younger generations was unmatched, safeguarding the nation's identity and cultural heritage. Bestowed on Mr. Trevor Dundas Mweli Scotta, posthumously, here represented by Ms. Zola Ule. For his contribution to the promotion of Black African knowledge by his trailblazing work, including a biographical dictionary of notable Black figures on the continent.
will now invite you, Mr. President, as I do, to bestow the Order of Power.
The Order of the Baobab. We gather under the shade of the baobab, listening to the wind gently whistling legends of the old. Through the branches, magical words appeared. It gives shelter to both animal and humans. The tree of friendship with its fairest fruit, and it protects us with its own skin. The baobab sustains its life from the root to the tip, as the baobab stretches out wide with its long experiential adversity and tolerance and service. We bestow the Order of the Baobab as a grateful gesture of peace, cooperation, active expression of solidarity, a gift for a safe place under a tree.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the Order of the Baobab. The Order of the Baobab in gold is hereby bestowed on Ms. Blanche Valeria Lacoma, posthumously, represented by Mr. Eugene Valin Lacoma. Fight for social justice and equality for all South Africans. She lived by the courage of her convictions and fought for the rights of workers and the liberation of the oppressed. For her commitment to realizing social justice for the homeless and downtrodden, using ingenious means of stockpiles for financial empowerment. Her tireless work in providing dignified living space for the homeless is laudable.
Mr. President, Deputy President, honored guests, and fellow South Africans, I now invite you, Mr. President, to bestow the Order of Lutu.
The Order of Lutu. This order is for outstanding contributions contributions for the struggle of democracy, a nation building, human rights, justice, peace, resolution of conflict on the continent. Throughout its history, the liberation struggle always founded alliances that enhanced its vision for unity and on racial South Africa. In that time, it cultivated for men and women of extraordinary courage, men and women that are selfless, to direct this vision. Amongst those was Albert John Mtulu. A committed servant to his people, he made sure to pursue the path that displaced the notion that war is the answer to freedom. He said war is not the vehicle to achieve freedom. As Makhwezi Mtulu, on his way to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, Togo Makanya said, "Home, hills, and even mountains, though you are silent, the words across the seas have been heard. Waves, I praise you, for you carry my voice across the oceans, from the shores of Africa to the Norway and America, now consoled in the corners of the world. The Order of Mendi."
The Order of Mendi in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Makhwezi Diki Jacobs, posthumously, represented by Ms. Notawe Regina Jacobs. Sacrifice to the struggle for liberation. His life ended defending the principles of a just and equal society. Although his life was cut short, he remains a towering stalwart of the struggle who laid down his life for the liberation of his people. Cyril Jones, posthumously, represented here by Ms. Ingrid Jones. He was one of the leading lights advocating for Black consciousness message of self-reliance, pride, and self-affirmation for the oppressed people of our land. Benjamin Langa, posthumously, represented by Dr. Becky Langa. For his ultimate sacrifice for equality and social justice in South Africa. He endured unimaginable pain and remained loyal to the cause until the end. His legacy remains a beacon of light and inspiration to many. The Order of Mendi in gold is hereby bestowed on Mr. Siphiwe Mtimkhulu, posthumously, represented here by Ms. Zukiswa Mlita. Of our people. His fearlessness and leadership belied his age as he boldly confronted the forces of oppression and eventually gave his life for the democracy of South Africa. He lived by the courage of his convictions and faced the wrath of the oppressive regime.